to the latest here on the Texas man suspected of murdering 5 of his neighbors over the weekend, including a young boy. The 4-day-long manhunt ended late Tuesday when law enforcement acting on a tip say they found Francisco Oropesa hiding underneath a pile of laundry in the closet of a home in Conroe. That's about 20 miles from the scene of the shootings in Cleveland, Texas. The San Jacinto County Sheriff's Office did add this morning that Oropesa's wife has not been arrested here, or has been arrested rather. The charges against her not quite revealed yet. The sheriff says Oropesa's neighbors approached him late Friday night asking him to stop firing gunshots in his yard. He added Oropesa then went over to the home and fatally shot 5 neighbors, injuring others as well, then ran from the scene. Oropesa will be charged with 5 counts of murder and his bond set at $5 million. Now, moments ago, we dipped into the tail end of a news conference there with the prosecutor in San Jacinto County, Texas, where that suspect is being held. I do actually want to play that from the beginning right now, as we do hear from the sheriff and the lead prosecutor.
You don't have a director, do you? All right. There you go. Okay, this is San Jacinto County District Attorney Todd Dillon, and some of y'all had some questions earlier about charges and charging and different law questions. This is the man that can answer those questions. Okay?
Can you spell your last name?
Yes, ma'am. Dillon, D-I-L-L-O-N.
Can you say your full name, please?
Yes. Todd Dillon, Criminal District Attorney, San Jacinto County, Texas.
2D, T-O-D-D?
T-O-D-D, yes, sir. Appreciate you all being out here today. I will apologize in advance. This is hour 86 of this entire thing. Myself, as well as Chief Keene, members of the Sheriff's Office, and our law enforcement partners throughout the region, state, and nation have been going the entire time. So I'll give you as much information I possibly can. I'll just start with questions.
What charges are on file for Oropesa?
Mr. Oropesa is currently charged with 1 count of first-degree felony murder.
And just 1 count?
Currently, yes, ma'am.
And possibility of the charge being upgraded to capital murder?
That's correct. There is a possibility for that. Yes, ma'am.
Why not 5 counts of murder?
Well, the initial count was a $5 million bond. We felt that was sufficient to detain him until further investigation takes place.
Will the other 4 murder charges be filed?
That's very likely, yes, sir.
And when could that happen?
That could happen as soon as today. Understand that we had over 200 law enforcement officers, agents on the scene. There will be a lot of documentation, a lot of reports, a lot of evidence generated as a result of this investigation. My office will have to review that to determine the appropriate charges. That will take some time. This is an office with 1 elected district attorney and 2 assistant district attorneys.
So what's going to happen today? Why not capital murder now?
Why not capital murder now? Because the benefit to capital murder is a no bond, and a $5 million bond was a practical no bond in this situation.
So what happens today?
So what happens today is magistration. Okay, magistration takes place in the jail, where a judge sits down with a defendant, goes over his rights, determines whether there's probable cause to keep him in jail, and either reinstates or amends the bond as.
All right, so that was a little bit of that interview there. That was with the lead prosecutor over in Texas, and that was a bit earlier, San Jacinto County. It looks like it did restart there, but I do want to bring you back to the portion where we did leave off, so let's get to that right here.
Capital murder would be an offense. Murder that's committed in the commission of a felony, the murder of multiple people in the same criminal incident, or the murder of a child. Yes, sir.
The one murder charge that's been filed so far, is it in relation to one of the specific 5 victims?
Yes, that's correct.
Which of the victims?
I couldn't tell you off the top of my head which one.
It's not the child, though?
I couldn't tell you exactly which one.
What about the other suspects arrested and helping hiding?
That's correct. Those they have been. I believe there may be one in custody in Montgomery County. There's one in Montgomery County, I believe. I'm not sure. Like I said, this happened at about 1 o'clock this morning.
How many here?
One here in San Jacinto County.
Yeah, how many were arrested in San Jacinto County?
One here in San Jacinto County, one in Montgomery County.
Can we get a name on the person in San Jacinto?
I'd love to give that to you, but I don't know if I can get that off the top of my head.
What details can you tell us about that person?
I believe that person is associated with the defendant as his wife, the one that's going to be here in San Jacinto County. No, I take that back. That's incorrect. In Montgomery County is, yes.
Sorry, can you step up?
Yeah. So the individual who is in custody in Montgomery County, that is going to be his wife, Miss Nava. There is an individual, and I don't have his name correct, so I don't want to hazard a guess, who is associated, a friend or an acquaintance. He's booked here in San Jacinto County Jail. He was booked in last night under possession of marijuana charges. We expect those charges, additional charges, to be filed.
What was his role in hindering?
The investigation so far indicates that he was assisting Mr. Oropesa in fleeing the neighborhood where the crime took place.
Do we know how? Do we know how? Like in the car?
I don't know the details. Yes, sir?
Can you specify a little bit more about the relationship? I know you mentioned that she was the wife. Is she officially the wife? Is it they just have like a
I don't know. One of the struggles during this investigation has been there's not a lot of documentation on a lot of things. That's one thing that we're developing. I don't know if he's common law, or they've actually in fact been married, but they were living together as husband and wife.
What's the official charge for the person who is here that was arrested in San Jacinto County?
He was booked in last night under a possession of marijuana misdemeanor B charge.
So nothing in relation to the actual?
Not yet. That investigation is ongoing, and we expect there to be additional charges
What
filed.
will be the charge for that?
The investigation's ongoing.
Where was the wife?
Go ahead.
Where was he found?
Mr. Domingo,
Yeah.
I believe he was in the neighborhood of Trails End, but I would have to verify that with my office.
And where was the wife taken in custody?
She was detained at the scene where Mr. Oropesa was found.
Wait, apologies for the redundancy. He's being held on a misdemeanor or a possession of marijuana charge.
Mr. Domingo is.
But what led you to say, he should be charged in connection with the?
That there was information developed from our investigation that led us to believe that he had a part in doing that. Okay, and that's about as far as I can go right now.
Will you handle the Nava case? Will the Nava case be brought back here, or will her case be handled in Montgomery?
That it's too early to tell. I need to know what the basis of the charges would be and where they took place. If they took place in San Jacinto County, we'll handle it.
Domingo, guys.
I'd love to tell you, man, but I don't have it right now.
No first name in it?
That is his first name, is Domingo.
Domingo's his first name,
Correct.
last name.
I want to say Castilla, but I'm not positive.
Is that going to be listed like?
He's in our jail roster, and my understanding he's on the jail roster. My understanding is that Chief Keene is working on getting y'all a jail roster.
Do you think there will be other people arrested or charged with helping Mr. Oropesa over the last few days?
We are reviewing all evidence that leads in that direction. I don't have any targets identified at this time, and if they are targets, unfortunately I can't disclose that information until we feel like we have enough to go forward.
When did Miss Nava stop cooperating with police?
Miss Nava appeared to be cooperating up until the time when we arrested her.
So when you say appeared to be cooperating, you mean like she was like talking to you at the same time that she was talking to him, trying to help him?
We believe so.
And how long was he inside that house hiding out?
We don't know at this point.
Just to be clear, it's two that have been arrested
in connection with this case. Yes, ma'am.
So just explain to us, like, what was his wife doing? I mean, like, so she's talking out of both sides of her mouth, essentially talking to you guys, cooperating, quote unquote, but you believe she's also talking to him. Explain that.
So what we believe that Miss Nava was doing is that she was providing him with material aid and encouragement, food, clothes, and had arranged transport to this house.
Even while she knew that her husband was clearly the target of a criminal investigation.
That's correct.
Did at any point she tell you that he wasn't in the home when he actually was?
I don't believe so, because the connection with Miss Nava to that home only happened immediately before the CID and BORTAC arrived on scene.
Was Domingo in the house when?
No, ma'am. Not that I'm aware of.
So Nava was in that house where you were?
That she was At the scene or at the residence, somewhere on the residential property. I don't know if she was outside or inside or something different, but she was at that scene.
And whose house was that? Who was there?
I'd love to tell you, but I don't have that information offhand.
Has Oropesa confessed?
I can't go into that. As you understand, I'm a prosecuting attorney for this case to stay in my county. I can't go into the further details of this investigation beyond what affects public safety to maintain the integrity and ensure that this case stays in San Antonio County. I have legal obligations as an attorney that prevent me from going into things that may be pretrial publicity. So, unfortunately, guys, there's going to be certain things I'm just going to say I can't go into that.
Can you say he's been talking to investigators, or is he just not even said anything?
You guys, pretty much at the point where he gets arrested, I have to kind of...
You can't actually comment on this from a prosecutor's standpoint. How concerning do you find that there were calls about this man's house discharging a firearm, and that it doesn't appear that any records were ever run indicating that he'd been reported 4 times?
Okay. I'm sorry, I didn't understand.
Sure.
You're saying that calls were run and he wasn't deported?
Yes. Over the course of whatever the time frame may be, according to Sheriff Gapers, there were multiple calls about Oropesa discharging his firearm in this property, right? This dates back however long.
Okay.
And now we're finding out that it took years for this entire situation to bubble up when there were calls already made. Okay. Why did no one who received that call ever run his information to find out his status?
Every encounter with a law enforcement officer and a citizen is contextual. So, I mean, we're not in a country where everybody says, show me your papers on every contact. So I don't know the details of those individual contacts, because an individual contact with a law enforcement officer may or may not result in a case that's filed with my office. I don't know the details of those contacts, so I can't speak in an educated manner to those contacts.
Point of clarification. You said his wife arranged transport to the house where he was caught. So are you suggesting that he was taken there by?
I don't know if she physically took him to that. What I was saying is, I believe she either provided or arranged some transport out of the neighborhood. That falls within material aid or encouragement. So I don't know the details of whether she was the person who physically took Mr. Oropesa to that house, but we are fairly confident in the fact that we filed charges that she was providing aid at that time where she knew he was a known subject.
Have you spoken with him in the jail?
No, that's not appropriate for a district attorney to interview.
Are they being represented, or are they being waived for the right?
Again, I can't get into what somebody did with their rights. That would be a violation of my pretrial publicity. Attorneys at this point, nobody has filed a letter of representation with my office for Mr. Oropesa.
Is it clear at this point that she stayed in the general vicinity around the home, like didn't travel like an hour out of town, for instance?
It's not clear. It's not clear, no sir. So I couldn't say.
And either she or this other friend was providing him rides in the neighborhood, or did they ever give him like a vehicle for him to drive himself around?
I don't believe so, but I don't have a lot of details in that information. I have no information that a vehicle was provided to Mr. Oropesa.
At the time of the arrest, was she at the house at the time of the arrest, or did she come later and that's when she was arrested?
I believe she was at the house at the time of the arrest, yes ma'am.
Do you know how she was being surveilled?
Again, that goes into law enforcement tactics, and I can't get into that.
The first day when there was a false alarm, I guess out of Montgomery County, and it turns out he actually was spotted, was Domingo present then helping him? What was his role at that time to get him?
We had multiple tips and our officers, fortunately in this situation, we had the manpower to actually run down every tip. So there's multiple tips on that. I'm not aware of I believe it's Mr. Castella being a present at any of those scenes. That's Domingo Castella, I believe. But he will. Again, I would encourage you all to look at the jail roster to get his correct spelling on his name.
Sorry, and the sheriff last night said that there were 5 murder charges filed.
Well, like I said, there was a lot of moving parts at that point of the investigation. At the point when our focus is obtaining a suspect who's a danger to the public, there may be some crossed wires on details, but we were all on the same page about what needed to happen. So that may or may not have been a misunderstanding, but there is one arrest warrant for Francisco Oropesa, and it's for first-degree felony murder with a $5 million bond.
Sorry for the redundancy, but the next steps for him after he's magistrated on the charge.
That's correct.
is an appearance before a district judge, right?
It may be before a district judge. It may be before a justice of the peace. Like I said, that depends on staffing levels, who's on call, and that sort of thing. So, and I'll come to you in 1 second, ma'am. Just to kind of explain, San Jacinto County is kind of a relic of the old Wild West days. We share a circuit court system. So that means the 411th and 258th district courts. They represent, they are judges who go to the to San Jacinto County, to Polk County, and Trinity County. So they are running dockets, they are running trials, they are running all kinds of business before a court in 3 counties throughout the week. So that's a logistical issue. It'll depend on availability.
You guys investigate.
And hang on, I'm gonna come back to you in 1 second. Yes, ma'am.
The house where he was arrested was deceased person?
There is some information out there to that regard. I have not confirmed that yet.
Will more people be arrested in helping him?
It depends on the willingness of these people who observe this to come forward. We encourage that. I would say that the Trails End community, the residents there, have been overwhelming in their support and their in this investigation. They were very cooperative with law enforcement. Everybody was on the same page. This guy needed to be taken into custody.
What are the tipsters? Were they your neighbor?
I'm sorry?
Was the tipster the neighbor?
I don't know that at this time.
He ditched his phone, but yet was still in contact with, I guess, the woman we're referring to as the wife. How did he maintain in contact with her? I know the sheriff last night said there was a second cell phone, but was that his phone? Was that a burner phone that he got at a nearby 7-Eleven or something? So
it's a little early to determine whose phone belonged to who, but we did recover multiple phones at the scene where we arrested Mr. Oropesa.
And do we know where he was, let's say?
We don't have a timeline of where Mr. Oropesa went immediately following the shooting. That's one part of our investigation we'll be working on in the days and weeks to follow.
But even if there's not a timeline, do you at least know, okay, we know that he had spent time clearly in his house, in the woods, and maybe, for instance, at his dad's house potentially. Do we have that?
No, sir, I don't have enough to confirm or deny that. Yes, sir.
Will he remain here?
Yes. Yes.
Were there any weapons recovered?
Not that I'm aware of.
Are you expecting now to be in court today?
No, ma'am. Like I said, no one will be in court today. People will be magistrated, but that takes place in a secure facility in the jail. So no one will be in court. And also, just because I believe there's probably several questions, our office does not do information filings that brings a suspect to court in the days or weeks following our arrest. Our policy here in San Jacinto County is his case will be presented to a grand jury after he's indicted, then he will be placed on a docket. Our grand juries meet once a month with the flexibility to come back sooner or sooner than that. Our next grand jury will be at the end of May. So, not saying that Mr. Oropesa will be indicted by that time. Our deadline as far as indictments in the state of Texas, if a defendant is incarcerated and they are not indicted within 90 days, they're released on PR bond. From the DA's, from my perspective, that's the deadline that we're looking at right now. So,
the address of the home cleared on something on the timeline.
It depends. Go ahead.
What you can share. In terms of how he got out, we know he got out the neighborhood. Someone set transportation. We just don't know who took him out.
Well, I don't know if Mr. Oropesa fled the neighborhood on foot, was picked up and delivered somewhere else. We don't know that right now. Like I said.
All right, so it appears that when they did feed that, there was a few audio issues there, but the prosecutor speaking on those charges against that Texas mass shooting suspect and his wife. We know Francisco Oropesa is charged with a count of murder and will likely be charged with more counts a bit later on as the investigation does progress. He is accused of killing 5 people Friday night at a home there in Cleveland, Texas.